Can you hear me all right, Rob?
Mark, can you hear me?
Can.
All righty. Hold on. All right, there we go. Can you see me?
I can. Mr. Eddie? As you guys are seeing the screen share that's on the screen right now, does it show videos along with it or just the screen share?
Screen share.
Okay.
Screen
Perfect.
share.
And then does it just show the file or does it show my entire browser? So do you see the like browser bar?
Yep. See the full thing, your browser. Currently. Green screen.
Well, the House delivers the articles of impeachment.
Yeah. It's the right thing to do. I'm also concerned about the politics of it, but
Hey, Eddie,
Hey, what?
what time are we meeting tomorrow
What's tomorrow?
about the insurance?
Tomorrow Tuesday.
You want to do early?
No, depends on how the snow ends up going.
Ain't that the truth? We're gonna be
Is
in.
the truth.
I just looked outside. It looks pretty tough.
It is tough.
It's at least 4 inches already
It's got to be more than that, isn't it?
right now. But I hear that we got at least. I hear that we have at least about what, another 9 come on the way.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so. That's my big sister. Eddie, that's my big sister. That's the chef.
Oh, hi.
Hey, Eddie, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Did you say Michelle?
She's a chef.
Oh, a chef. What? Take my earpiece out.
Yep. She's a chef.
So, Mark, is this the same? This is different than what we've done in the past? This is
Yeah.
an invite. This is an invite because it's the fundraiser.
Yes.
Got it. Got it. Not very good virtual background on Zoom. My Chicago Bears one, which I can't do for this. How do you get? Where'd you get your backgrounds out there, Robert?
What'd you say?
Where'd you get your backgrounds at?
I just download them to my laptop.
Where'd you get them from, though?
Oh, just off of Google.
Yeah, you can download and upload any image and use it as a background.
Yeah. Can I use a Bob's Burgers background?
If you want me to send you a file to use as your background, Eddie, I can do that.
Is it something that's appropriate for me to use there, Marcus?
Yeah.
Send me a file. What do you got?
Here.
I can go search too. Have a look. I'll be right back. I'm gonna quick.
See your face.
Hello, Deidre.
Hello. Yeah.
Hi.
This is Mark and Eddie, and Rob's on as well. Rob's muted at the moment. We'll be getting started shortly.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here. I'm just still getting set up, fellas. Hey. Have we already run through the program again, or I did get it via email, but if there are any changes.
No changes that I'm aware of, but we'll wait for Rob to hop back on. Rob, I don't know if there's any other details you want to.
Deidre, you know, Rob, anything can happen at any moment.
I have not made any changes at all. Thank you very much.
So we'll just whatever curveballs he throws at us. Did you bring your ball and glove, Deidre? Because I get to introduce you tonight. We're supposed to chat.
No, I didn't bring my ball and glove. And Rob, if you can avoid making us use balls and gloves tonight, that would be awesome. The weather outside is frightful.
Half of y'all I don't even like. It's all good.
And luckily I am unbothered by that. It's so good to be here. I am pulling up this bio. That's what's taking me a little bit longer. Hop in.
Deidre, you got a bio on you that you want me to use?
No, I do not. Thanks for asking. This is the bio I was provided from Michael.
Mr. Blake, thanks for joining us.
Good to see everybody.
Reverend Dr. Michael Blake.
I was just getting ready to say the bishop is on. The bishop.
I'm grateful to be in the company of the Queen of Iowa.
Oh, you are too kind. You are too kind. I have a quote here that says, I will never match you. It was in Times Magazine. I don't have that, so.
That's what we're doing out here tonight? Okay. Good. And happy belated, Rob.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're still in the private room. Brother Eddie, good to see you again.
You too, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Missed you for the Reverend Johnson roasting we had the other night. It was great fun.
Tell Rob to make sure to send me the link more than 15 minutes before someone's about to jump off, so I can actually plan accordingly.
Well, as you may know, that's Rob's MO. So that's how we live every day.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. I'm sorry that I can't get down with this, but we will make plenty of time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bishop. Thank you, Bishop Blake. Thank you.
We can just start the roast here.
I'm just saying.
The host is inviting you to join breakout room program. Am I supposed to join this?
Yeah, so the group of us can move over to that program room. That way we can speak privately before we get started with the.
Makes sense.
Thanks, Mitch, Scott, Sebastian, Kazanda, Rebecca, and Sean, and Christine. We'll be getting started here shortly. Thank you to everybody that's joined us so far. Getting started here shortly. And you can message me in the chat if you have any questions, concerns, and we'll be getting going here in about 2-3 more minutes.
Thank you, everyone. We will go ahead on and kick it off to Eddie Morrow to get us started. Welcome to the New Frontier first official 2021 fundraiser. Mr. Eddie Morrow, will you go ahead on and open us up?
Thanks, Rob, and thanks everybody for joining in. It is the kickoff fundraiser for New Frontier, and it's a new year. We got some new beginnings. We got some new opportunities, some new challenges in front of us in 2021, and we brought together some wonderful, wonderful guests that we're going to hear from tonight. Want to thank our sponsors, and you're going to see them posted up here throughout our presentation tonight. Some wonderful, wonderful sponsors that are helping us out, and it's not too late to sponsor, folks. So if you want to reach out to some of your friends and loved ones to continue to help us grow this out, build these programs. They're going to be so important for us in 2021 and beyond. Our work's not done. In the state of Iowa, we won some and we lost some in 2020. Across the country, we won some and lost some, and we kind of finished on a high, right? Joe Biden is our president. Kamala Harris is our vice president. We won 2 Senate races, hard fought in Georgia to take over the United States Senate. And we feel pretty good about that. But our work is not done. There's still so much for us to accomplish. And New Frontier is going to put together to work on that effort, to work on driving more Democrats to the polls in the fall, to building our bench, to working into 2022 and beyond, because we have a lot of work to do. We have work to do to make sure that freedom and equality go hand in hand in this country. We have work to do to make sure that democracy is first today. And if we do those kinds of things and take that out into our communities, from the heartland to the coastlands, Democrats will continue to celebrate victories. American families, America's children will continue to become stronger and realize the dreams that should be afforded to all of us, that some of us have had a chance to accomplish. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming and joining us tonight. We have some wonderful speakers that are going to chat with us. We're looking forward to your comments as well. So be ready to ask some questions, learn more about what New Frontier is all about, and the work we're going to do. And to learn a little bit more about that, I'm going to hand this off to one of my partners, Mr. Mark Langen. Mark, how you doing tonight? Maybe we're going to hand it off to Mark Langen.
There I am. Can you all see me there, Eddie?
We can see you. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks to everybody for being here tonight. Really excited about what we're doing here at New Frontier. And I'm here to kind of introduce a little bit of the organization and some of the work that we're doing. We ended the 2020 election cycle with a lot of concerns here in the state. We've really backslid over the last 10 years when it comes to economic conditions in our state and how we're treating some of the most vulnerable in Iowa and also nationally. And New Frontier is building a program starting here in Iowa and then building outwards from Iowa and in the upper Midwest and across the country. That's really going to be focused on the core of how we help work and do the good work for working people in this country, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, background, location, where you live, who you are, gender, identity, across a lot of different areas. And what we're trying to do is to build grassroots infrastructure for delivering services and programs at the local level, getting them engaged on issues related to poverty, economic justice, racial and social justice, rights, and a number of other areas, and then ultimately getting them engaged, registered to vote, and turning them out to vote at the polls during election season. And we're trying to build a team here in Iowa that's got reach across a wide communities, because no longer can we win as Democrats or progressives or people that just want to make our world a little bit better place by our own silos, staying isolated in our own communities. We need some more cross-pollination between urban and rural, black and white, rich and poor, for us to be able to kind of break down some of that division and that separates us and that allows politicians on the right to divide and separate, rather than letting us recognize that we can come together around some shared values and ideas to make real change, both Iowa and nationally. And so with that, one of the people that I've been most honored to work with over a year and a half, and I think there's a lot of people here on this call in the meeting that have known Rob for a lot longer than I have. I got to participate in a great roast of Reverend Rob Johnson last. where I got to hear my share of short jokes about Reverend Rob from the crowd. And he has really been somebody that has spent his entire career working to bring people together on common goals, whether it's in business, in his advocacy, in his church, in his family. He's really done a phenomenal job of bringing people together. And I'm really honored that he's part of New Frontier. And I'd like to have Rob take it from there and bring us into the rest of the program. Rob.
Thanks so much, Mark, and thanks so much, Eddie. Here's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the cusp of something great, not just in our country, but even right here in Iowa. We have an opportunity, and those of you on this call, this call is considered what I like to call the burden carrier call. Everybody on this call is a group of people, is a group of leaders who are burden carriers. Every single one of you represent thousands of people in your own right. Some of you literally represent thousands of people because you are elected officials. Some of you literally represent thousands of people because you are a business owner or you're helping make waves for business owners. Some of you are single moms or single fathers, representing other people who are looking to make sure that they're providing for their families and providing opportunities. And the only way that I firmly believe that we do that is with organizations like this who are fighting for us when it comes to policy. Every single thing in our world and in our life right now resolves around a policy. Here's the thing. If you want clean drinking water, there's a policy. If you want to make sure that there's a grocery store in your neighborhood, there's a policy. And when we do things like this, organizations like the New Frontier does exactly what its name says. It presents a new frontier and a new opportunity for people to be able to look and see where we want to go in a new direction. And so I want to thank everyone, every single one of you all for joining this call with us, because every single one, we closed this call because we wanted only a few people who were just the burden carriers and the leaders. Some of you represent news stations. Some of you represent news outlets. And so we're super, super grateful. But also we want to thank our host committee. Mark, if you could pull that graphic up for me really quickly. We want to thank our host committee, those who we were able to get a hold of, and they said, you know what, we're going to go all in at the host level and continue to show you that we're all about making this happen. Some of them may have come because they saw Deidre's name or Michael Blake's name on the roster as going to be speaking to this closed group today. But I wanted to make sure that we shouted these individuals out, because these are the people who decided, you know what, we're going to go all in and try to make this happen. You know, we have the state auditor, Rob Sand, Councilwoman Renee Hartman, Akeo, State Representative Akeo Abdul-Samad from District 35, Attorney E. Paul Dunn, Catherine Dunn, Mike Delaney, Steve and Linda Rowe, Jim Cottermeyer, Mark and Amy. Oh, Mark is our behind the scenes guy. And let me tell y'all, he is truly, truly making it happen every single day. Eddie and Sharon Morrow, Mayor Bruce Teague from Iowa City, Roy and Stacy Temple, Scott, Catherine Harrington, Rebecca McMahon. And so we are just super grateful for all of you all who have decided to invest in us and invest in this organization to make it happen. This is just one of many of our fundraisers that we're going to have, and this is just the kickoff for 2021. And so we're just super grateful, and we're thankful for each of you for being a part of this journey with us. And when you see opportunities like this, help us spread the word. Help us get information out, because it's going to take all of us collectively together to make this happen. 2021, we have city council races. We need to get people involved. 2022, we have a gubernatorial race. We need to get people involved. Organizing for these races doesn't start in September, doesn't start in October. It starts right here on this call right here in January. And so I'm grateful and I'm thankful. And I want to thank you all for being a part of this closed moment here today and for being burden carriers and carrying the burden of our community. Eddie, I'll toss it back to you.
Thanks, brother. I'll catch that pass and want to take a moment to introduce our first special guest. Whether she knows it or not, something that's very special to me, because in the streets of Des Moines this summer, I thought about people like Deidre and little girls just like her. It made the fight in the streets that more worthwhile and that more important for us. Because I've been very, very blessed, as we all have, with this crew to get to meet some wonderful, wonderful people on this journey. And a lot of you are on this call tonight. Representative Samad, who I call Moses, Councilwoman Hartman, who's here tonight, just wonderful, wonderful people. And Deidre's right at the top of the list of somebody that I've got a chance to see in action. Her integrity, her humanity, her passion, and the full package makes her somebody that is going to be very, very important for the next generations of little girls and little boys that are coming up in our communities. And we are honored to have her tonight as one of our special guests. Want to congratulate her for the work that she did in the Harris campaign in Iowa, and congratulate Kamala Harris for being our vice president, and that connection that you've made has been phenomenal. And I want to introduce her because she has done the work, and she will continue to do this work in this state. And I look forward to walking alongside of her and helping in any way I can, so we can build a better community for our kids and our grandkids. And with that, I want to introduce to you Deidre Dejear.
Yes, thank you so much, New Frontier, for hosting this today. And thank you to Rob and Eddie and Mark for just staying in this fight. Eddie and Mark, thank you for being allies in this journey that so many of us have been carrying all of our lives, but you all, have been investing your time and energy to help us carry this load. And so we thank you for your contributions and your commitment to this road that we're traveling all together. I'm happy that we are here today to celebrate something which is more importantly, the word that I like to use is progress. We're celebrating progress because we have an opportunity here. And when I think about all of the history makers who have come before me and people who have inspired me to do better and to be better, this is an opportunity for us to be those folks who are the inspirers. That quote that we hear a lot, I see farther if I stand on the shoulders of giants. Rob said earlier, you all are the burden carriers. We're speaking to the choir today. And we saw last week history take its place. Finally, the woman who committed so much to her community, who invested her time and her energy into being for the people and standing by that principle. We have that sort of representation in the White House right now. Someone we used to call a senator is now a vice president. Kamala Harris is now our vice president. I'm going to say it again. Kamala Harris is now our vice president. And that's something to be incredibly proud of. Needless to say, we all know this journey is not over. But what we do know is that people's interests are piqued. People's interests are piqued. Seeing Vice President Kamala Harris take on that role has piqued a specific group of people's interest that was typically not piqued before. And when we think of all of us on this call today being the burden carriers, all of us in this moment today thinking we're going to carry even more burdens, let's carry this one but for a moment to invite others to alleviate this burden. If there is anything that I can share to you today, people are ready. Not all of them are going to take on the baton, but it's up to us to ask. It's up to us to present ourselves in such a way that we allow them to stand on our shoulders. Just like somebody who's on the call today, Michael Blake, he has had so many titles. This man is a tireless servant, and wants no credit for it. I mean, his contributions to politics, whether it's listening to little 25-year-olds like me on the phone trying to figure out how to make it through, or going to represent the entire country in the DNC as a vice president at large. He just continues to add value. A man from the Bronx, I think, that Jamaican blood in him has taken root and hold, and it's not going anywhere because he's got 22 jobs and he's doing all of them so well. And so when we think about people who are carrying burdens, we've got a big monumental burden carrier on this phone today, a man who worked tirelessly in the Obama campaign, and then went on to work in the White House. And we were so blessed that you planted seeds just for a little bit here in the state of Iowa. I can't go to Davenport, Iowa without hearing Michael Blake's name. Do you know Michael Blake? Do you know Michael Blake? Yes, I know Michael Blake. You know Michael Blake stayed in my house? Yes, I know Michael Blake stayed in your house. But he is just an amazing individual, and I am happy to call you brother, and thank you so much for everything that you continue to do. I'm going to pass this over to you, sir. Make us proud.
I don't know why, Deidre, trying to embarrass me in front of all these folk out here, but I understand that's the love that we have for one another. Allow me first to say I look forward to seeing Deidre in a statewide office in the state of Iowa. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to put that there, and y'all can take that wherever you wish to take that. Now, the importance right now is, as my mama always says, give people the flowers before they're gone. I'm going to speak about Deidre first, and then I'm going to go to others. The work that happened in Iowa and the momentum that was built around Kamala Harris, and it's important, please, everybody, let's make sure we say our vice president's name right there. I always say it's Kamala. That's the best way to say it there. Was for those that believed in her when they didn't otherwise believe. And so to our leader, Dejear, I'm grateful for you, for your friendship, for stepping up in the ways that you have, and for opening up the door for so many of us to be able to come hang out in Iowa. I always tease that for some reason, this skinny guy from Illinois let this skinny guy from the Bronx, come hang out with him. And because of that, we were able to be in that space. So I'm appreciative of you and grateful for you every day, all day. To my dear friends, there are many of you on this line. Allow me to say to Reverend Rob, I don't know why I didn't get the full invitation for the roast before, but I'm going to be well behaved on this call. It's a New Frontier call and it's recording. So you don't want me to say the things I could say in celebration of his birthday. But I love you immensely. I'm grateful for you, appreciative of you. I always say it's important, men, you can be feminist, and men, you can be vulnerable and be honest about that. And we don't tell other brothers that we love them enough when you're on this journey. Be like, yo, I got you. I got you, and I have your back. So to Reverend Rob Johnson, to Eddie, for being the blessing that you are, a calm presence as you continue to be with us and here, and allow me to be in your space. I think it's the third time we've been able to share space together here. Mark got me feeling a little awkward because his screen saver is my face. So I don't know what's really happening over there. I would really appreciate a different visual that's going on over there, but I appreciate what's happening there accordingly. I haven't seen him on. I see that he's on, but to Mitch Henry, and I got to say this, Mitch was one of the few when people didn't think we had a chance when we ran this thing in 07, 08. You don't forget who got you to the dance. And I'm forever grateful that the times that you would let Rohan and I and others just come and ask many questions over and over. And to my dear Councilwoman Renee Hardman, good to see you. We have a mutual connect, a dear friend of ours who has given me the honor of his daughter being my goddaughter, who is always reminding me often of his love of Iowa. And I'm like, yes, we could talk about Iowa all day, every day. Lord knows, I love me some Iowa. So Renee, good to see your face. To everybody online, thank you for taking the time to support, to believe and be a part of something bigger. Allow me very briefly to utter words that I saw recently while down in Atlanta, where I was there for 2+ weeks to support our now Senator Warnock in his race, who is a dear fraternity brother who I've known Reverend Warnock for years. So it made me full to see his victory and Senator Ossoff's victory. While I was walking through a park, the end quote was applicable for this conversation. The assurance that dawn comes after night and spring comes after winter. The assurance that dawn comes after night and spring comes after winter. To me, if you think about what brings us here tonight and what makes us have the calm that we do, it is that dawn has finally emerged. I listened to Brian Williams a few nights ago, and he said something that really stuck with me. He said, if you just reflect on 3 Wednesdays and the evolution that has happened in this country, we went from insurrection to impeachment to inauguration. And when you really just take the time to internalize that, I said to people when that hit me, I was thinking a lot about how people usually are saying they're waiting 2 weeks because they're waiting for a paycheck to be able to pay their bills. But think about how we as a country could not wait for 2 weeks for what happened on January 6th for us to get to January 20th. Dawn coming after the night, to me, is the epitome of a new frontier. Spring coming after a winter is the epitome of a new frontier. It's how do I get to that new space that I may not realize otherwise. As people of faith, I often have connected the point when I speak of a new frontier on the verse that to me is very applicable. When you think about the moment of when they were reaching the region where Jesus met the man named Legion. The region that they arrived was called Decapolis. And you have to appreciate that in historical context, it was an area where there were 10 different regions combined into one of which is actually also called Philadelphia. You can actually see the other 9 that are referenced there. And the guidance after he was healed was not to go and just do the things you wanted to do. The very simple guidance that Jesus told them was go and tell your friends. Tell them what has happened here. Tell them about the miracle that has occurred. And so for me, when I envision why this is so applicable, it is how do you go to the new frontier to tell them what you have done? Are you willing to tell someone that you are a part of something that is hard for us to put into words? Joy Reid said a little more than an hour ago that we are truly living through history where we watched on our TVs that the former president is a person that has been impeached for a second time, but even deeper than that, that you can make the very legitimate argument, stay with me now, that he might have committed the greatest crime anyone could have committed, insurrection on your nation. Now, why is that applicable here? It's not for us to be focusing on the negative of the former president. It is the recognition that for so many people, they don't want to go to a new frontier. They want this to stay of the years and decades of old. They want this to stay in the space of white supremacy emerging victorious. They want this to stay that black folk and brown folk and gay and straight and transgender should not have a chance to be here. They want this to stay that there's no business for a woman to be a vice president. They want this to stay in a space where what they have had in their minds what should be. But the joy of this, when you say that there will be a dawn after the midnight, is that you can have that moment of joy like I've witnessed recently, where you could be a young man from the Bronx, where a friend of mine said today in a message that her daughter could watch an inauguration and her daughter could see two women of color from the Bronx on that stage. I could see a Latina Supreme Court justice who grew up in the Bronx to swear in a black and Asian woman to be a vice president. Where else could that be a new frontier? Tell me about a new frontier where you could then on that same day have that same sister be the one to swear in a Latino man, son of immigrants, as a United States senator, a Jewish man, son of immigrants, as a United States senator, and a black man who, as the youngest of 12, the preacher of King's Pulpit, to be the one that signs the book as the 50th senator so that they could be there, so a new frontier could be achieved, so that every time they try to have insurrection on the Capitol, they now have to look at the Capitol as Kamala Harris is breaking ties. That is the power of a new frontier. That's what happens when you think about the Decapolis and the regions that you come from, and saying very clearly that this is what's at stake right now. So I come here to ask you, to implore you, to inspire you, to beg of you that none of this shall matter if you stop working now. None of this shall matter if we return to the days of what were before. None of this shall matter if you don't keep reminding people about what's at stake when it comes to voting rights. I think about the impact right now, where you're going to have people who've been trying to believe for themselves that an election was rigged and stolen. Tell them about democracy and the power of what happens when we are a part of the process. Don't stop now in communicating about the new frontier, about what's at stake when you have local elected office holders. Think about what it means to now have Democratic attorneys general across the country who can be here to amplify and protect us, to give us that chance right now. Think about what 2022 shall mean for us in this country. 2022, where we have to make sure we hold the House, where they're going to find every possible way to make it harder. A United States Senate, where they see what's happening on the other side. You really believe that Rob Portman of Ohio is saying he's not running for re-election because he believes that it's going to get better on their side? No, they see what's happening. And I appreciate that the words that he communicated was the recognition of what's happening. He knows that there are too many people that believe in Trumpism that want the old frontier. They want it to stay in that way. They want it to stay in that manner. Now, as a New Yorker, we are very clear about who Trump is and what Trumpism means. And Trumpism is not going to walk away just because we have a Biden-Harris administration. Trumpism is not going to walk away now that we have a tied United States Senate. Trumpism is not going to go away now that we have a Democratic House and a trifecta. But why is that so critical here? Because if you believe that you are greater than the people, then you will start to believe the people don't matter. And so for the next 2 years, to the people of Iowa, where I have used the caucus as an example here as we're educating our constituents about ranked choice voting. For the first time, we'll have a mayoral, city council, citywide borough president election here in 2021, where 4 of our 5 borough presidents, which would be synonymous to a county exec in other places, 3 citywide officials, and 35 of 51 council seats will all be up at the same time this year with ranked choice voting, which, let me convey that this is almost the Iowa caucus on steroids, because it's a scenario where you can show up And imagine you have 15 candidates. You can only choose your first 5, and you'll choose them in a ranked order of 1 through 5. And you don't return back as you would in a caucus after 30 minutes. You literally will vote, and it will keep rotating until someone gets 50% plus 1. And if that doesn't happen, whoever's last on that will be knocked off, and it will go to your second choice candidate and your third choice candidate. So yesterday, for example, you had a sitting elected official who made an endorsement of their first and second choice candidate for mayor. Process that. The level of education that we're going to have to be doing here over the next 5 months. And so when I talk about why you have to keep working, it's because you have to be victorious in 2022. You got to be victorious in 2021. You got to keep building on now. So I close by saying this. I am excited. I'm excited that I remember when we were in the White House and our friends would tease and say the only president that their children ever knew was a black president. I'm excited that you can have a man of faith and a man of empathy and Joe Biden be our president, and a sister of courage and grace and class, a soror of ours, to be a vice president, and Kamala Harris. But this will all be in vain if we're not talking about the next pipeline that emerges from Iowa and other states such as Iowa. That is the new frontier. Do we show people that I may not look like you, but I can still love you anyway? That I might not have your own last name, but I still love you anyway? That I may not have gone through what you've gone through, but I still love you anyway? Appreciate with that urgency. Appreciate it with us doing the work. Appreciate us making phone calls, text messages, and everything in between. And know that I'm on this journey with you no matter where it goes, to the new frontier and beyond. So to Reverend Rob Johnson and others, I say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mr. Michael Blake, thank you so much. Wow, that was really extremely powerful. You know, I had the opportunity to serve on Deidre's campaign, and we were able to run up and down this state in 2018 and do what we could. Before that, you know, she had brought me into working with you during the Obama stuff to get involved with knocking on doors and getting folks educated about voting and excited about voting. And that's where we met. And ever since then, you've definitely been an inspiration and a joy and just a pleasure to continue to work with. And I'll never forget saying, man, I want to do what Michael Blake does and travel around the country and talk to churches about Jesus and about voting. That's what I want to do. And honestly, Deidre gave me that opportunity with Kamala, and then it carried over to Biden, and you and I started working together during the Biden stuff as well. And so, man, you have no idea the type of inspiration that you put on people to do this type of work. And, you know, I could truly say that I was inspired to do this work because I saw a Michael Blake. And so I'm extremely appreciative and grateful for that. So thank you so much, good sir. There is a new frontier.
Amen.
There is.
Amen.
Well, at this point, I really wanted to open it up and see if anybody had any questions that maybe we could answer before we head out and have our closing statements. But I really wanted to just open it up for a couple of minutes and see if anybody had any questions that maybe we could answer about what's going on currently right now in our country, about local elections or anything, any questions about New Frontier, our organization itself. We're more than happy to, thank you, Mark. Raise your hand using the Zoom tools if you have a question. We're more than happy to take those, and I'll give a minute for people to think. Did I see anybody? Up there is Councilwoman Miss Renee Hartman. Mark, will you unmute her? Oh, okay, there we go. Go ahead, Miss Councilwoman.
Okay, well, thank you. First of all, thank you, Rob, for launching this new PAC and the New Frontier. I really appreciate you putting your heart into it. And going after your passion to make this community and the world really a better place by the work that I'm sure New Frontier will do. And thank you so much, Mr. Blake, for inspiring us with your words. Every time you talk, you just bring out the best in all of us and propel us forward to do the work. And it's hard work. It's not easy. So I want to thank you for being in the fight. And of course, we're very proud of Deidre and the work that she has done and the hearts that she has inspired and the path that she has led for others to do what they're doing. So just a wonderful panel of folks. My question is that Iowa just elected its first African-American Democratic chair, Ross Wilburn, and I'm happy about that. And so I just want to talk about what kinds of things on the Democratic Party level, and if it's inappropriate to ask during the PAC, then you have to tell me that, Reverend Rob, but what can we do to support the efforts there? Because we can all be happy in the sidelines that he's there, but we can't have him be lonely. We have to be out there doing the work. So what are those challenges and what is it that we need to do to support Ross Wilburn being the Iowa Democratic chair?
Blake, did you want to take a piece of that?
So I always love seeing Ross and everything. He was dancing up a storm when then Senator Harris was campaigning, and he had amazing energy when we were all out there in 07, 08. I still think about our many trips around the state, especially on Earth Day, and the moments that were happening there. Look, I think one that's essential, and Deidre can appreciate this. The quiet organizing is essential right now. I think that clearly Iowa is a battleground, and clearly if you are a state that a Black man could be elected and win twice, but then you lose it thereafter, something's happening, right? And I think something that we did not effectively do in too many districts, and I'm going to be very intentional about that, and I think this is applicable to the question about Chairman Wilburn now, is that we have to get better of communicating the contrast between us and the Republicans. I just couldn't really grasp how everything Trump did and how devastating it was for farmers. It should have been in every talking point, right? Every talking point. Wisconsin, I don't. They could have been asking you about what's going on with the New York Yankees. You're like, absolutely, that's great, but let's get back to those farmers, right? Like it's just somehow, right? And I think that's one thing that is essential to be done. Two, making sure to identify the pipeline of staff and candidates now, right? I can never understand how we are in scenarios where we are scrambling to find candidates. I always struggle with that. And given the magnitude of the importance of the state that you have, realize there are states like ours where we don't have elections for our chairs in the same way you all do. I mean, the chairs are essentially appointed by the governor. So it's such a phenomenal difference in that regard. And I do think thinking about that pipeline of what you have. And so third and finally to that is, while yes, there has to be a fundraising element, there has to be equally the element of people being disciplined about the unsexy work in organizing. What do I mean by that? The data, which a lot of times people don't want to spend the time working on. I was having this conversation with a candidate earlier today, and I said, there's going to be some parts of the district where you're going to lose 30 to 70, but that's okay because you're not supposed to lose 20 to 80 because you're going to win other parts of the district 51-49, right? And I think we have not done a good job of supporting our leadership and educating on the ground for that, so that when someone comes to you, Renee, and is like, I need these 10-yard signs, you're going to be like, yeah, we can't really do that because that other part actually needs it, right? Like, and if we're serious about winning for the state and gearing up for 22 and a 24, how do we make sure we prepare in that way? How do we start thinking about the training element that has to happen accordingly? And so I think, to your question, that's what we've done in other states. I reminded someone who asked me earlier today about my DNC run. And I said, when I came in as a vice chair and us as officers, we didn't have the White House, we didn't have Senate, we didn't have the House. We leave 4 years later and we had all three. And one of the things we were adamant about was data. It was the quiet organizing that was happening in Virginia and New Jersey that no one was paying attention to. I always give the anecdote, and this will get to tie to the question, Renee, of forgive me, my elected protocol, Councilwoman, right? Is this when you got sister folk, brother folk, you talk as family out here, right? I think about what happened with Puerto Rico in terms of an organizing example. So while everyone wasn't paying attention, we purchased the 787 area code that was pinging in the States for 30 consecutive days. Now, obviously, number one would be Florida. People would expect that many people come to Florida. But the second highest state was actually Pennsylvania. So while people weren't paying attention, we were organizing Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania and directly communicating, and we're able to build in that way. Why is that relevant to your question? Because it's that kind of alignment that everyone on the ground will have to say, you know what, Ross, we're going to be with you. We're going to be very disciplined and understanding there are different things we have to do in order to win and be successful here. And I think all those pieces are what make you relevant, having a new chair in that. And lastly, I can say this now, forgive me, now that I'm not an officer. And I know I'm going to cause some trouble when I say this. You do have to prepare. You might not be first, right? And again, if we have a real family conversation, and I think we have to say to ourselves, whether if you are first, again, I don't know. I'm not an officer anymore, so I'm not in that conversation. Maybe you're part of a regional conversation. If we truly are here because we want to keep winning, I remind people a lot that if Jim Clyburn did not step in South Carolina, we don't know what happens here. And I think we have to start assessing, how do we create a structure nationally for everybody to win, right? And if that means we got to find ways to show love, again, I don't know what that looks like. That's going to be hard. And the reason why I'm saying that intentionally is I don't want folks to be like, well, see what happens when a brother got in control, all of a sudden they want to do. No. It's about what's best for the country. And how do we make sure we become victorious? So.
Thank you.
Of course.
I do want to mention this really quickly. Mr. Blake broke it all the way down. One last piece I just want to emphasize that he said is education. We got to educate people, and that's what I love about what Deidre and her team are doing. We got to educate people on what's going, like, people don't know their government. People don't know what power the mayor has, what power the city council has, the school board has, the county supervisors have. They don't know what boards and commissions that they can be on. And these boards and commissions are making decisions for people's lives, and they have no idea what any of these people or any of these things do. And so we have to do a better job to help them, people like Ross and Blake and the chairs. We got to help them by educating folks on the ground, because people truly don't know what's happening in their government. People think that Des Moines government operates like Chicago government. False. Chicago has a mayor and aldermen. Des Moines has a mayor and city council members, but the mayor is effectively just another member of the council. He's basically the chairman of the board, right? And so people have to understand how their government works. And I think by us educating and getting on board and supporting organizations like New Frontier, like Deidre and her team, like doing that type of stuff really helps those people like Ross with the bottom line with the unsexy part of organizing, as Mr. Blake just pointed out. So,
Well, to that point, and it will be announced this week, I'm partnering with a college here that we're launching an institute on civic engagement and social justice, and a My Brother's Keeper Institute that will have any high school junior and senior in the Bronx will get high school and college credit for participating in it. And the complete intent around it is that when they leave, no matter what they do, they actually understand government and they understand their role. And quite frankly, to Renee's question and to Rob's point there, and as Deidre and others are thinking through their moves collectively, civic engagement is essential, right? Like if you really want to help Ross, you really want to help everyone else, help people actually understand what's supposed to happen here, right?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know we are pressed for time right now. We have time for just one more question. Just one more question. Anyone? Got a couple hand claps. All right.
Let's get back to basics.
Mitch has a question.
What'd you say, Councilwoman?
Did Mitch
This-
have a question or was he just clapping?
No, he
This
was
is
just
Mitch.
clapping.
Yeah, I have just a quick comment. Michael,
Oh,
it's
go
good
ahead,
to see
Mitch.
you. Michael, it's good to see you again. It's been like 12 years. It's been way too long.
My brother, they only let me to Iowa to come campaign for Deidre. That's it. So but now I'll gladly come on back and spend some more time out there too.
Thank you very much, Michael. You take care. Hey, thanks a lot for the show tonight. I appreciate it. It was great.
Yeah, and I will. Again, I'm going to say this, and I will always say this. There was a point when we were down like 30 points in the polls in 08, in 07. And I am forever indebted to the people that were rocking with us when no one else was. And people like Mitch, I think about Fitzgerald. I'll run through walls for that man. Tom Miller, right? When people were laughing at us. It's a good homecoming to be able to come back and see my crew again. And tell Okeo, I don't know what. I mean, I know we're not at Creative Visions, but I don't know why he's not on here right now. That's ridiculous. I'm gonna give him some grief for not being on here.
He would have definitely been here. I know he's having some family stuff tonight, but I know he definitely said, he called me earlier today to let me know that he definitely would have been on here. But after he roasted me on my birthday, I kind of don't want to see him for a couple of days, It
was a 10-minute charring, a 10-minute charring. It was great.
Just put me on the cooker, So
That's good.
But,
that's better. I hope they didn't do you like my staff did me, where my chief of staff made a music video for my roast, which I was not ready for.
Well, Deidre showed up with pictures from, she and a story about when we were in college that is so embarrassing.
Good. I'll make sure to get that on videotape later on. That's good.
Me too.
So,
We appreciate you, Reverend Dr. Michael Blake. It's so good to see you. It really is. And thank you for keeping on pushing that. Can't wait to follow what you're doing up there with civic engagement. It could be a model that us around the country could use for sure. So we'll be keeping in touch.
Absolutely. Well, anything you need and anything everyone needs here, I look forward for my Iowa marching orders to be coming and my National New Frontier marching orders as well.
Awesome.
hey, thank you. In all seriousness, any final thoughts before we head out?
Great show. Some great thoughts from Deidre and from Mr. Blake, no doubt about it. Appreciate everybody joining us and supporting us as always. As you can see and hear, there's a lot of work to be done, and we can make a new frontier every single day. And we appreciate your support in helping us build these programs out. And we'll ask you, because you need to keep asking, unfortunately, to continue to support us in any way you can. Share our message with your friends and families. Continue to ask people to donate to us, because you know about this work. All the people that are on here, you've run for office or you've helped candidates for office, and you know those resources are very, very important for us to make this work happen, for us to get those people on the streets that we're going to need. And we want to start that tomorrow. We can't wait until October of 2021 to support some candidates for city council and other races. We can't wait until September of 2022 to help out whoever's running statewide or and for legislative races. That work's going to start right away. And I know that some of you will be part of us helping with that work. And some of you can help in other ways by helping from a financial standpoint, either donating or getting other people to help us out in that endeavor. And with those resources, we can go compete. And we can build that new frontier, that frontier that's going to help all of America's families, help Iowa's families, help our children to build a better community for all of us. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Continue to follow us. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. If you're in Des Moines today, I'm still looking now at 10 inches of snow out there. I go shovel. Rob, can I borrow your platform shoes that Akale gave you for your birthday? I need to get those so I get to my windshield.
Y'all are so disrespectful.
Wow, Lord Jesus.
Hey, so I'll end on this. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being burden carriers. Thank you, Deidre, for lighting torches and inspiring, and for being on this call and for answering this call. And I know, and for being a big sister to me, I love and appreciate everything that you do. And you really do a really great job at pushing us and inspiring us and motivating us. And thank you, Mr. Blake, for what you're doing. And let's continue to do this. And in the words of that song, it says, let us march on until victory is won. So I thank you all. I look forward to working with you this year. And let's go build a new frontier. Good night, everyone. We'll see you soon.